Amazing moments happen so much at SiriusXM. We want you to see them. SiriusXM Video lets you watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows on the SXM app. Groundbreaking interviews, amazing in-show moments, behind-the-scenes footage, live performances, all come to life in a way you only imagined before. Plus, you can create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artist you love. And hear over 100 extra channels filled with ad-free music for every mood or occasion. Get your first 6 months of our Platinum plan for only $8.33 per month, plus fees and taxes. Just call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
Got soft, Dusty? What are we doing? Hear passionate sports talk from former NFL players Dusty Dvorak and Danny Cannell on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Von Miller's out here complaining about chip blocks, advocating for less contact. Hot takes and debates from guys who played on opposite sides of the ball. This block is trash. This isn't about making the game softer. It's a cheap shot. Dog Days with Dusty and Danny. Weekdays at noon Eastern on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82, and on the SXM app. Can you go out there and just patty cake them a little bit softer? To hear Mad Dog Sports Radio, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visiting SiriusXM.com/go.
The greatest title fight in the history of the division.
The UFC is on SiriusXM Fight Nation. Get inside the octagon for all the UFC Fight Night cards on Channel 156.
The undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
Plus, hear the preliminary bouts and pre- and post-fight commentary for UFC pay-per-view cards. The UFC is on your home for combat sports. SiriusXM Fight Nation, Channel 156, and on the SXM app.
Just because you leave town doesn't mean you should go without your commercial-free music, play-by-play from your favorite teams, or the programs, entertainment, or news you listen to every morning. Get SiriusXM and get the radio you love coast to coast. Call 844-711-8800 or go to SiriusXM.com to activate your radio now.
SiriusXM has the perfect channel for you.
Oh, believe it, just watch.
Whether you're listening with the whole family, you can kick back, relax, and chill in the spa, or live the dream and sleep in with the Sleep Channel. Whatever you have planned for Mother's Day, we have the perfect channel for you. Find them now on the SXM app.
Get the SiriusXM app and listen on your phone when you get out of the car. Anywhere you take your phone, you can take Howard Stern, NFL Radio, and commercial-free music channels from nearly every genre. You never have to miss your favorite SiriusXM programs or commercial-free music. Find the SiriusXM app in the App Store or call 844-711-8800 or visit SiriusXM.com/app to find out more.
Netflix is a Joke Radio is on SiriusXM. Wall-to-wall comedy clips from Netflix's exclusive and unparalleled library of top comedy specials. Plus, comedians Tom Papa and Fortune Feimster hang out with all their comedian friends on What a Joke.
What a Joke is the name of the show?
Weekdays at 10 a.m. East.
I like the name, yeah. What a Joke.
And Are You Still Listening? A monthly Netflix stand-up showcase hosted by Taylor Tomlinson. Tuesdays at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. East. Netflix is a Joke Radio. To hear Netflix is a Joke Radio, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800.
Or go to SiriusXM.com/go to sign up quickly.
Greatest title fight in the history of the division.
The UFC is on SiriusXM Fight Nation. Get inside the octagon for all the UFC Fight Night cards on Channel 156.
The undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
Plus, hear the preliminary bouts and pre- and post-fight commentary for UFC pay-per-view cards. The UFC is on your home for combat sports. SiriusXM Fight Nation, Channel 156, and on the SXM app.
To hear the UFC on SiriusXM Fight Nation, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visiting SiriusXM.com/go.
Happy Radio is on a mission to make you smile.
Baby, how you feeling?
With nonstop feel-good hits. Tap into Happy Radio now and catch other happy channels from rock, country, dance, and more. All available on the SXM app, included with all trials and popular plans.
Ball game on SiriusXM. Finding your hometown broadcast on the SXM app is easy. Just click the favorite star and listen all season long. Showtime! MLB Network Radio is your home plate for baseball conversation and expert analysis. To listen to MLB Network Radio, activate your radio now. Call 844-711-8800 or head to SiriusXM.com/go to sign up quickly.
Rumble Deportes, bonjour, bitty bitty bitchy. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me, and the doctor that cleared my throat. I gotta tell you, today is a beautiful. It is May the 10th, 2023, and I just had Arby's. Where's the meat? That tangy barbecue sauce. I want to put it in a bottle because I just want to give it some praise. I had the beef was so, it was like the Big C burger. Not as good as the Big C burger, but it was like eating eggs, like scrambled eggs. It's easy to bite through. And the meat was so good. And I'm not used to, anyway, it could have been bigger. It tastes almost as good as the Big C burger. Not quite as good, but almost as good. It's like going to a concert and you're going to go listen, you want to listen to that good boy named Drake, because Drake can get down. They say, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we do not have Drake, but we do have a guy named Flake. Okay, Flake can't perform like Drake. And the burger that I just had is not as good as the Big C burger, but it sure hit the spot, and I want to give Hit the Spot some praise. If you ever hit the spot, give that some praise to this show. Man, sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton of Big C sent you, as well as driving the fleet of Cadillac cars all across the universe. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast on 27 podcast applications from Google, Alexa, Spotify, Spreaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast, Castbox Podcast, my goodness, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Geo Savan Podcast out of London, England, as well as India and Africa. You can find us on Podtail, YouTube, Hubhopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, Repod Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes Podcast Wise, Podbay, Verbal Podcast, Podcast Podyssey, Podcast Republic, Good Pods, and also the one that used to scare me, but now it doesn't, is allfeeds.ai. I told you the robots are taking over. Give the robots some praise. You know, I haven't hooked up my what's it called, YouTube. So either way, I don't even think I want to. But either way, I got to figure out some things to make sure that channel is actually activated for me, as I was told from them Derry Hills, East Coast, if that makes sense to you. What a beautiful day in California. Got some big basketball games at beautiful Chase Center in San Francisco, California, just south of the Bay Bridge and south of Oracle Ballpark. What a stretch of sports in San Francisco when you have Oracle Ballpark right across from McCovey Cove, and you walk about a quarter of a mile, maybe a half mile, and you're there at Chase Center, right there in the beautiful San Francisco Bay. What a great, great arena for the Chase Center, as well as a beautiful ballpark with Oracle Ballpark back in the day. Was there when it opened. If that makes sense to you, really do appreciate that. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast streaming OTT on 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. You better have a smart TV, or you might just be sitting there looking at a still picture. Really do appreciate, like, you have a still picture. I remember in the movie Nope. There was an African American that created the first still picture. You can Google the name, and because I forgot who it was, but I thought that was interesting. It was on a horse, and they showed that in the movie Nope with a flying saucer, if that makes sense to you. But I really do appreciate things on a beautiful, I guess they call it hump day. I don't know if it's hump day or trash day, because I hear the trash people picking up trash in the morning, early in the morning, if that makes sense to you. I feel so relaxed eating that burger. Was pretty decent. In fact, I might want to get me another one. But before I go and dig out, I want to praise our Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced, helping veterans and their loved ones get help. You know, any veterans going through issues, you can pick up the phone and call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give us a praise, because we all need somebody to lean on. I know I do. We all need somebody to lean on in our Veterans Crisis Line. They really do a lot. I want to give Coach Steve Kerr congratulations, because he was skating around what Big C told you. And I said in the first 4 games, the Lakers have shot 50 more free throws than the defending NBA champion Golden State Warriors. 51 is a lot. That's like 12 and a half per game. And if the Warriors had shot 50 more free throws than the LA Lakers, they would probably be up 3-1. I just want to see games that are called fairly. I'm pulling for both teams because I love California teams. And, you know, whatever it is, sports is the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. But when you can, as a person that has followed sports most of my life, if you shoot 51 or 50 free throws more than your opponent, that's not being officiated properly. So Steve Kerr said, he used a euphemism. He said they're good at flopping and selling the call. Well, if they're good at flopping and selling the call, I would say Steve Kerr, get up in the official's face when you see it happening. I think the most egregious was LA shot 37 free throws to Golden State 17. That's when you take a technical if you have to and call attention to it, because, you know, 800 gamblers real too. And sometimes some of the Bay Area media said it felt like the Warriors were playing 5-on-6. If that makes sense to you. I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, God said, "Let there be light." Open your cell phone or electronic device and just say "Play Big C Sports Podcast," and the show comes up. And I want to thank some of my. I'll get into that later. Or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll get into it now. But first of all, as I say, I always honor God in every show that I do. I always walk and talk by faith and not only by sight. Number 1, I always produce the show. Number 2, I direct the topics. Number 3, I broadcast all the shows. Number 4, I do all of the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter in our lives. I know I could use more laughter. And then the commercials are done. The stats provided. The storytelling. And not even do the play-by-play. Steph Curry for 3. We got to have some of that tonight for Golden State to get Game 5 at beautiful Chase Center. And I think I've seen them save it by as much as 6.5. And I think they'll win by 10 tonight. Unless the Las Vegas Lakers come to town and the Lakers shoot 35 free throws and Golden State shoots 7. If that makes sense to you. 37 free throws for the Lakers and 17 for Golden State. The last game, the Lakers shot 20 free throws. Golden State shot 12. There has not been one game in these 4 games where Golden State shot as many free throws as the Lakers, or even came within 5 free throws. The closest margin was -8 in the free throw category. They shot 12. The Lakers shot 20. That's the closest it's been as far as calling plays and calling fouls on teams. So that's the gambling side of sports. I know some people, they don't want to hear that part, but that's okay. That's why God allowed Big C Sports to talk. And then the show is uploaded to 25 multiple podcast platforms out of New York City. Actually, 27 multiple podcast platforms out of New York City. And then 4 TV platforms Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. You know, I love so much about today's basketball. You got the New York Knicks and the Miami Heat, and New York deciding if they want to stay home and play with those big rats. Because the Miami Heat said if you can't stand the heat, you got to get out of the kitchen. And they've been kicking them out of Miami Vice. They've been putting the vice on those good old boys from the Big Apple. If you ever seen an apple in a vice, it's not a pretty picture. And they've been doing that to those good old boys out of New York City. And as I say, if you're going to take the time to watch games, you want to make sure that games are done properly, at least from a fair point of view. And you don't need the official to tell you if you saw a foul or not. But when you look at people that spend top dollar to go see these games, and one team in 4 games has shot 50 free throws more than their opponent, that looks like shenanigans. The league can do a better job if that's what they're trying to do, a better job. No referee is perfect, but you also, if you're doing it fair, you would think there'd be a game with Golden State shooting 25 free throws and the Lakers shooting 17 free throws. But it can't just be one team. The bigger, more physical team is the one they're not calling fouls on. That doesn't make any sense. The smaller team that's based on speed, they avoid contact. They avoid contact. And they do the pick and roll just like the Lakers do. And when the Lakers fall down, Steve Kerr called that a flop. I think that no matter what the players do, the officials have they're the ones with the whistle in their mouths. And that's a shame that they only see one team what they want to call a foul on. 50 times more. And that's not good when people are spending top dollar to see sports. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I know that everybody has their own point of view. I love paying homage on this beautiful hump day. Beautiful hump day. My beautiful family legacy. On my mother's side, my great-grandmother called her Mamo. Beautiful, loving, kind woman. Always making sure there's lots of love in the family and lots of food in the belly. And then I really do appreciate her. Then my great-grandfather called him Pop, former military man and former Negro League baseball player. Always known around his church buddies as making the best moonshine in the history of the universe. And said, boys, get out of that barn now. I done told you to stay out of that barn. All friend loving war. We found the moonshine, and he knew it. I mean, he had all kind of booby traps on it, but we knew how to get around them. If that makes sense to you. Life is so funny. Really do appreciate my grandfather, the real MacGyver, great-grandfather, Pop, the real MacGyver, can fix anything, planes, trains, and automobiles. All he needed was duct tape and a water bottle. And then my beautiful grandmother called her a Medea. She's beautiful, loving, kind, and industrious woman. She was a seer. She could oftentimes look at a person and tell you a lot about their past, their present, and their future. And she still helps me to this day. Really do appreciate her. And then my beautiful grandfather, Hezekiah, another wonderful person, a seer, could oftentimes look at a person, tell you that the Lakers shot 50 more free throws than Golden State in 4 games. And we still got games to go. At the same time, Dan Levito set Game 7 on his hat. And I said thought it'd be done in 6. And no matter what it is, I didn't anticipate 50 extra free throws in 4 games. But I do keep it real. If you didn't have those 50 extra free throws, that gives you a chance to get 50 more points. People got to see that. And the last game was 104-101. Warriors lost by 3. Lakers were favored by 3. I think they were favored by 3, and they ended up winning by 3. But if you get 50 extra free throws through your 4 games, that's like an extra 50-point potential. That's not fair at all. But I know Las Vegas makes its money based on what they do, and that's why you have a 5-on-6 fast break. Showtime! It's all fair and love and war. And I can always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program, and also coached an all-boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe in an all-men's league. Isn't that something? They were always trying to intimidate Mama. They say, this is the man's world. They were playing James Brown. But she say, hey, but it would be nothing without a woman or a girl. Really do appreciate my mama always saying, rise and shine, the best person I ever met in my life. In fact, at the church, everybody wanted Mrs. Curry's cooking. And at the restaurants, everybody wanted Mrs. Curry's cooking. And at home, everybody wanted Mama's cooking. It's like the game tonight at the Chase Center. She say, son, how many plates have you had? I say, curry for 3. And you got to hear that tonight at Chase Center. And I don't know what's up, but with Jordan Poole, got some issues back and forth, media related. And I would think Gary Payton II plays better defense than Poole. He doesn't shoot the 3 as well. But if Poole's shooting like 25% from 3, then he's a liability. So, play with your better players. Also, for the LA Lakers, if they keep doing what they're doing, getting the officials to give them an extra 50 free throws, they'll be just fine. That's what I see anyway. And for people that don't see that, then that's their problem. But I want both teams. I like both teams. So when I see one team being robbed in broad daylight and people can't see it, normally an official, if they make a bad call, they'll make it up on the next play or the next couple of plays by giving you a call against the other team. They just do that. Football's that way. Basketball's that way. If an umpire calls a strike when it should have been a ball, he'll give you some favor when the pitcher kind of barks at him a little bit, and he may call what's a ball a strike just to make it up because they're human and people make mistakes. But these officials that the NBA has covering this game, they haven't even an overcorrection, 50 extra free throws, they haven't even corrected that. 50. And so Coach Kerr doesn't want to be fined, so he calls them selling the flop. But Coach Kerr, you got to start chewing some backside or you'll be taking a vacation in the sitting on the dock of the bay. You're not that far from that San Francisco Bay. But if you don't get up and start chewing some backside, when you see it happening, don't wait until the day after and talk to the media. When somebody steps on your foot, you got to say, oh, you hurt my foot, you hurt my foot. You don't wait until the next day and tell somebody, hey, someone stepped on my foot at that meeting I was at last week. Tell the person right now. Same thing with any athlete. You got to do it now. You got to do it now. You got to do it now. But I love both teams, and that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. The best person I ever met in my life. And then on my father's side, my grandfather called him Albert Curry. He was a pastor. He had 2 churches in Oakland, built the 3rd church in Central California. And he also owned 2 gas stations in Oakland, California, one on Bancroft, the other on Foothill. And I was just by there the other day. And then he also owned 40 acres of land, which is such a similar moment because his grandson, named Charlton, has been written about in the Associated Press about Reparations, the only sports show in the universe that's been interviewed about reparations by the Associated Press and participating in the California Reparations Task Force. And now that it's happened, I got people from New York City calling me, asking, can they interview me about reparations? I said, that's up to the California Department of Justice and the Governor Gavin Newsom, as well as the Reparations Task Force, and they'll have their final recommendations on July the 1st, 2023. I'm asking for the $5 million plus free health care for life and housing, as well as other benefits, loans, and whatever to repair all the junk that's happened to descendants of chattel slavery. A lot like our Jewish brethren when they got help with the United Nations in France and Germany to create a Holocaust survival kit called pensions and cash payments. And nobody complained. Not one person complained. And descendants of chattel slavery deserve the same treatment because black soldiers helped defeat Hitler, if that makes sense to you. And we were told, lift every voice and sing, and white soldiers got the GI Bill. Everybody knows that. I don't want to be a dumb guy on the air just bragging about who's bigger, stronger, and faster. The 1862 Homestead Act gave over 276 million acres of land to white people. They never gave it back. But they'll say, oh, I never owned slaves. The government should take all that land that was given and give it back to black Americans. Because it was promised to us through the Emancipation Proclamation. Now everybody wants to check black on their application. It doesn't work that way, sir. But I know some people saying, hey, I got some black to me. You know, people say whatever they got to say. The life is so funny. It's about the law, and I love being a part of that. Just really do appreciate it. And, man, just really, really appreciate it. And then my beautiful grandmother, Alberta Curry, working side by side with my grandfather with the 2 churches in Oakland and building a 3rd church in Central California, and then running the 2 gas stations in Oakland on Bancroft and Foothill. I was 8 years old when she touched me on my forehead, walking through a hallway to get some reparations and some more cookies. And she said, there's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak. And now Big C Sports Podcast is syndicated on 27 podcast applications and 4 TV platforms all over the universe. She's spoken into me. And now that this reparations is going to pass, I've been talking about this my whole life, either lead, follow, or get out of the way. When I had some media from New York City calling me, asking me about reparations, and I've been talking about this for several years now, not just today. And some people have said, oh, man, you have no idea what you're talking about. That's never going to happen. I say it's already happening for people. Other groups, Google it. It's going to happen now for descendants of child slavery. And it's treated just like our Jewish brethren. And I appreciate that. That's why I love giving that praise. I love giving that praise. And then my beautiful father, from the United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure that airplanes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night, always saying develop your mind to a size extent. In fact, he's the first one to tell me about the SR-71, the Blackbird, that can fly. It can fly from Los Angeles, California to Washington, D.C., and I think it did it in 1 hour and 8 minutes. Now that's fast. 1 hour and 8 minutes. And it was not shucking and jiving. Everybody has their own thoughts about how fast that plane was. It would be great if they had passenger planes that could fly that fast. Nobody would ever be late for a meeting. Nobody would. But ironically, my father, his roommate in the United States Air Force, was a late Al Friedman Jr., who played the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in one of my favorite movies, Malcolm X, that was written and produced by the great Spike Lee and acted by my favorite actor, the great Denzel Washington. And I love the part that Denzel played in I think it was Guess Who's Coming to Dinner with Katharine Hepburn. And when he met the family, they said, nice to meet you. What do you do? He said, King Kong ain't got nothing on me. And he won an award for it. I know some people think it was Sidney 48, but I think my version of it is funnier. But really do appreciate things that I've been told over the years. And I've read so much, and I'm a voracious reader. I Google as much now as I read. But I've been talking about things that are factual going back to the 1600s in my sports show. That's pertinent to this day. And now to hear I don't need the validation. The validation came after I was talking about it. But to hear the Associated Press and the California governor and now news media all over the country and even backed by the United Nations, now the same people that said, oh man, you talk too much politics. What do they say now? They say nothing. They just hate. They're just haters. You know, stupid people. They don't even read. Everything I say is factual. You can Google it. All of it. And that's why I'm grateful to that. And then, I love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful brother, Todd, with that bombastic voice. Sound like thunder and lightning with top of speed. Always saying go forward. Our favorite movie was Pulp Fiction, outside of Malcolm X. But it tells so many things that's happened in the world of sports. Like the Boston Celtics, they were told by the great Joel Embiid. They told him your butt goes down in the 5th round. That's what Ben Rames told to Bruce Willis. And he said, say that. So Bruce Willis said, okay, my butt goes down in the 5th round. And he told him what Joel Embiid told Jason Tatum. He told him that stinging sensation you feeling, he said, that's just pride coming with you. And what did the great Joel Embiid, the MVP tell Jason Tatum, he said, look, pride. He said, pride only hurts. It never helps. But I love what Ben Raymond said. He said, boxing is full of a lot of unrealistic muddy buckets who think that butt gets better like fine wine with time. But it don't. If you mean in terms of vinegar, then it does. If you're going to be a champion, you would have already been a champion. So take this money, go down to the bank, and get your reparations and give me some praise. And then I added my own story to it. But that's part of what I love doing. Love time with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Can't wait to see these games tonight. And I'm full of meat right now. Some people say, no, you full of something else, but it ain't meat. You can Google it. Oh, life is so funny. It really is. I'm full of meat. I feel like Joey Chestnut. Why do people eat meat? I was watching this thing on the Wild Kingdom, like an animal channel, and I love watching lions because they don't go to a restaurant when they're hungry. They don't go to the fast food restaurant when they're hungry. A lion will spot something that looks like it could be preyed on, not praying like the church prays, and they go after it, and they hit it with their paws to knock it off balance, and they always go for the neck. Now, as much chicken as I've eaten, I've rarely eaten chicken neck. But I think I'm going to start. I've rarely eaten chicken neck. But lions always go for the neck. And so this is a stupid joke, but I'm too far along to stop now. We come too far to stop now. So I saw this girl and this boy, they're probably in their late teens, early 20s. And this girl looked like she had some tattoos all over her neck. But they were hickeys. And I said, he must be a lion. Anyway, it's not as funny as I thought it was done. It's just, I wonder, maybe that's just how she was raised. Maybe that's how he was raised. He was going for the neck. And she didn't even try to cover it up. So what do I know? Get off my lawn. Give getting off my lawn some praise. Life is so funny. Oh, Lord have mercy. Well, as I always say, watch your neck, ladies and gentlemen. And then I love just giving that PSA and hope that people can. I'm going to start eating the neck of a chicken because maybe if that's what lions do, I'm going to go for the neck and see if it tastes better. I always eat the let me shut up. Well, oh, Lord, I ate too much. I'm kind of loopy. I don't know where they put that meat, but it showed it tastes good. But I love praising my beautiful daughter, Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years from a major university. Very smart, erudite. Daisy set up the very first interview for Big C Sports back at Salem Media. And we went on from there to become the first time in the history of the United States that NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. They had never done it before. And then she helped me set up in college coaches to come to the West Coast and do work with Big C Sports. And, you know, I was just grateful. You can be anything you want to be. Always trust God, Isaiah 54:17, that no weapon formed against you will prosper. I was watching this program that Oprah Winfrey was talking about, and she just had these stories about how oftentimes for young black kids, so brilliant, oftentimes this divide that comes from the outside that tries to divide black families, especially from their fathers. And they're always white, 99% of the time. And that goes back through history. And I said, maybe Governor Wallace was right when he said segregation now, segregation forever. Because that's what he said. And a lot of people live that way. They're always trying to get the black family, the black fathers out of their lives of their children. The prison industrial complex talked about that. That's also part of the Reparations Task Force, the 500 pages. And I know what I'm talking about because I've seen it throughout my life where predominantly white society would try to divide black families. They always want to get rid of the father so they can prey on the kids. They don't do it to their own families, though. They want you to sit around the table where nobody's black but you. And I wonder if you can do that on research in your own life and see if that's true. And see if they do that to their own kind. It's been going on since 1619. Oprah's pretty smart lady. She knows what she's talking about. Dave, you can be anything you want to be, but always trust God. Don't let anybody bamboozle you. And then I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful, handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. Very smart, erudite, a good man, college student. Always proud of you. Always trust God. Isaiah 54:17. No weapon formed against you to prosper. And Malcolm's amazing. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always get newspapers and look up stories and stats for the Big C Sports Podcast. And one day Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And the light bulb went up. I've been Googling ever since. And now Big C Sports Podcast is syndicated on 27 podcast platforms and 4 TV platforms. And one day Malcolm said, Dad, you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say, play Big C Sports. You'll see your show come up. That's before it was even on the air. And now it's on 4 TV platforms, soon to be 5. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always trust God. Never let anyone divide you from your family. I had a great conversation with my older brother over the weekend about things that happen in life. And he said the same thing happened to him. A lot of times, of the families that he's known over the years, people try to get black men out of their lives of their children. But you can watch at the dinner table, they sit around everybody that looks like them. They want you to be the only one. Ask them why they do that. And then write about it, because that's part of the Reparations Task Force, determined by the Department of Justice in California. Oh, I thought it was just Big C Sports. No. The Department of Justice, they opine the same thing that I just said, because it was by intent. What did Governor Wallace say? He said, reparations now, reparations forever. No, that's not what Governor Wallace said. He said what a lot of people do. Segregation now, segregation forever. So it's by design. And don't be that lone deer that the lion devours. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Watch Malcolm X 10 times, at least the opening first 10 minutes, if that makes sense to you. I tell that to every black kid. Because once the reparations happen, you're going to see a lot of people turn against you. They're going to turn against you because that's what people do. And you mark my words. There'll be a lot of people that will act funny against you. And then they'll try to steal the money. That's why it has to be under trust. And don't let anybody have access to your trust but you. And don't marry anybody until they sign a prenup, because there'll be people trying to take it. Talk to a lawyer. And some people say, oh, you don't need a lawyer, just trust me. I've been your friend for a long time. No, get a lawyer, get a trust, and don't let anybody know your trust, none of their business. But mark my words, there will be people that try to divide you from your family that will turn against you once you get to $5 million. Mark my words. They'll turn against you like The Exorcist. You know, I don't know if you saw that movie, not worth seeing. Anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking with it. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then Big C, with all that wealth of knowledge over the years. Just like my great-granddaddy coming out of that barn with his church buddies. Always saying, you gotta believe, you gotta believe, you gotta believe, son. Let's get ready to rumble. I love to say welcome to the show. As we nominated Big C Sports Podcast, I have no scripts. I have no three-way teleprompters. I have no producer in my ear. My show is fresh daily, like the collard greens I had over the weekend. They're great. You know, I'm not gonna talk too long tonight because I want to make sure this game is not something that can chart because I talk so much about it. But I do want to thank the Associated Press, Janie Harr, for the article she did with Charlton of Big C Sports on March 29, 2023 about reparations. And she also interviewed Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, President Joe Biden, and California Governor Gavin Newsom, as well as California Senator Stephen Bradford and California Reparations Task Force Chair Camila Moore. Really do appreciate being a part of that story. She didn't call any other sports show in the United States. And for people that have a problem with reparations, the United States helping Germany pay reparations, Google the JUST Act, the JUST Act, and read out loud what you see. Also, Survivors Today Act of 2017. Before I get into sports, the Justice for Uncompensated Survivors Today Act of 2017. It's United States legislation that requires the State Department to report to Congress on steps that 47 countries in Europe have taken to compensate Holocaust survivors and their heirs for assets seized by Nazi Germany and post-war communist governments. 2017. And no one says, oh, we can't do that. No, there's already going to be done with the help of the United Nations. They also are pro-reparations for descendants of chattel slavery, African Americans. I'm so blessed to be able to talk about these things because it's real. United Nations Human Rights Chief calls for reparations to make amends for slavery for Black Americans. I thought it was just Big C that talked that way. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I'm going to get into tonight's NBA basketball. Got the already underway. The New York Knickerbockers and the Miami Heat. And I'm telling you, Game 5, it's like the lion and the gazelle. Which one's going to eat the other? The Miami Heat, they can become the first NBA team to advance to the conference finals on Hump Day, and they hold a 3-1 series lead against the New York Knicks. After a Game 4 victory on Monday, Game 5 arrives. Isn't that something? It's amazing. Everybody has their own thoughts. But tonight's big for New York. Will they win? I don't know. I don't know if they've given up. I just don't know. I just don't know how that's going to turn out. I think it all depends on Jimmy Butler, how well he plays. Caleb Martin has a back issue. Tyler Hero, he remains out. But when you look at the Knicks, I don't know what's up with that team. They have so much with Randall. I thought he would ride into MSG on his spaceship and carry the New York Knicks to the Eastern Conference Finals. But I don't even know if I have any faith in them anymore. New York is a 3.5-point favorite according to Caesar Sportsbook. But we will see. I don't know. I don't have a dog in that fight or rat, if that makes sense to you. But I just want to see good sports and want to see good games. So we will see what happens on the East Coast tonight. The big game, the LA Lakers. They come to Dimber Hills, California to take on the defending NBA champion, Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. And they're bringing their sixth man, called the referees. They've shot 50 more free throws than Golden State. The Golden State Warriors, they look to stay alive for the NBA playoffs with the LA Lakers in their own backyard. Game 5 tonight, Western Conference semifinals in beautiful downtown San Francisco. And LA won their last game 104-101 on Monday to go up 3-1 with the help of 20 free throws. And they made all 20. Golden State shot 12 free throws. I think they were 9 of 12. You got to look at what happened with the Warriors, though. No matter what happens tonight, Golden State, they're 44-38, making a habit of falling 2 games behind this postseason. They rallied from a 2-0 deficit to beat the Sacramento Kings in the first round to win the best of 7. And the Lakers 43-39. Meanwhile, they jumped out to a 3-1 lead in the first round against Memphis before disposing of the Grizzlies in 6 games. So the game tonight, we play to win the game from beautiful Chase Center in downtown San Francisco. I was just there a couple days ago. It's going to tip off at 10 o'clock p.m. East Coast time, 7 o'clock on the West Coast. And Golden State's averaging about 114 points per game. in the playoffs, while the Lakers are averaging 112. But they've shot 50 more free throws. That's like 12 and a half free throws per game. Think about that. They've shot 50 free throws more than their opponent. Golden State's a 7.5-point favorite tonight. I think they'll win by 10 unless the Lakers six-man shows up called the referees. And everybody has their own opinion about it, but if something is so blatant, you got to call it out. A lot of people put a lot of time and energy into trying to win a championship. And no matter what team you like, I like both teams, I really do. But I don't like to see one team get robbed. And after tonight, if the trend holds up, the Lakers will shoot 10 more free throws than Golden State. Actually, 12 and a half. If it holds up, I think we can stop it if Steve Kerr getting up off the bench and getting to the backside of his officials and call them out when you see that they've shot 7 free throws and you shot 1. The Lakers shot 14 free throws and you shot 2. Don't let that happen and take that into the locker room. You should be stomping and calling timeout and asking them, I want to ask you, what are you saying, referee? Don't go to the media. It's too late then. I mean, who am I to tell him anything? But what he said to the media, he could have been said it during the game. That's just how I look at it, because this is about the rest of your season. If you're the Lakers, keep doing what you're doing, because you got given 50 more free throws. Who's counting, huh? You're given 50 more free throws by the sixth man. And you have to be blind not to see that. And that's not how, well, who am I to talk? Maybe I'm naive. All fair and level war. I made the best team win, but I think Golden State and Denver Hills will win tonight, all because Steve Kerr finally had the guts to say the officials are being the sixth man, and that's not right. That's my opinion. Got a recap of the Denver Nuggets 118, Phoenix Suns 102, led by the great Nikola Jokic, dropped 29 points, 13 rebounds, 12 assists, and the number 1 seed, Denver Nuggets, they beat the number 4 seed, Phoenix Suns, 118-102. Whatever happened to Kevin Durant coming to the South, to the desert Southwest? Bruce Brown dropped 25 points, had 5 rebounds. The great Jamal Murray only had 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists. Added a combined 44 points. In that win, the great Devin Booker dropped 28 points and had 6